And so specifically, I'm thinking about things. When you say culture, what do you immediately think of? I think some of us think about head coverings. We think of spicy food. Might think of an exotic language. Might think about somebody who's of a different religion than us. Those are the things that come to mind. And it's interesting because those things could be part of culture, but culture is different than that. It's maybe not all. Culture is bigger and perhaps a bit more unique than that.
This episode on Vancouver Real, we sit down with Dr. Gurdeep Parhar to discuss the issues with using the term culture.
Absolutely, and just to preface this, I'm being provocative by saying we should ban culture. What we should probably be doing is banning our use of the word culture. Culture, I mean, the way that the academics define it is that culture is defined as a common experience. So I guess there's probably about two or three things when I say why should we ban culture. One is I think it's misunderstood. Second is I think it tends to divide. And the third is I think it actually enforces stereotypes. So we have groups that have had difficult histories. So, whether you want to talk about the African Americans or you want to talk about our Jewish Canadian friends, and is that, they've had difficult histories and challenging histories. So they want to be able to associate with someone else who's had that same history for support, for understanding. And I don't disagree with that. But in doing so, when we do associate with a particular group, we're actually differentiating ourselves from everyone else. And sometimes, arguably, it has purpose and it's valuable. But a lot of times what it really does is it divides us. And I guess this is the other challenge with it, is that because it's a common experience, and as I said, you've got a sports culture, we've got a professional culture, we've got a geographical culture, is that in a way it's everything. We all have culture, and it's one of those things that when it's everything, it's the air around you, it's the air that you breathe and the water that you drink. If it's everything, is it anything at all? And so sometimes because the word is so nebulous and so big, by not saying what you're actually saying, which is language or religion or dress or food, I think it gets a little bit lost. Why is it dangerous? And I think why it's dangerous is often I think it gets misunderstood. So when we say, I couldn't communicate with this person because there's a cultural barrier. There's a culture barrier. There's a language barrier. If somebody's from another group and they're coming here, guess what? They're probably coming for similar things.
Yeah.
And so the other part of this is that we're not that different. Our religion might be different, our skin color might be different, and so our needs and our goals aren't that different. The term culture, I think we've come to a point now where in a way when we use it, it's almost meaningless.